Hello, Planet Earth. Welcome to my YouTube channel. We're at IDK, my BFF Jill 730.
My BFF Jill 730.
I'm Preston L. Young, wishing you warm salutations and congratulations. As always, you've made your way to the Buffington Post. Today I'll be taking a break from Buffy because it's time to talk about Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 6, It's Blood of My Blood. Here we go.
You are invited!
This is not the game of the slackers. There are no gimmies, no do-overs, no lifelines, no hints. You play as a team, but be ready to betray everyone to be rich. The weak of will, the unsteady, the ones who make excuses, all will leave with nothing. And if you fail, I will tell the whole world you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
So our season of family reunions keeps on going this episode. We've got Dany reuniting with Drogon. We've got Benjen reuniting with Bran, or half of Benjen anyway, right? We've got Tommen and Marjorie coming back together. We've got the Tarly family reunion. And we've even got old Edmure and Walder Frey back together. I had some issues with this episode overall. As a whole, it didn't really work for me. I felt it ended on a note that we could have skipped. It was nice to see Drogon again and see how massive he is, and I guess it's really important for the Khalasar to actually see her dragons and her not just being like, oh, I can't get burned, but I can actually fly around on dragons and stuff. I get why that's important, but I don't know how necessary it was for this episode. It just was kind of like, meh, whatever. The most important kind of like talkie points out of this were the fact that Daenerys is a conqueror. She's not really queen material. She's good at coming in on her dragon and taking stuff, but she's not really good at the day-to-day maintenance of the situation. So I think it was fine. It was nice to see Drogon again and see how much he's grown even more. But for the most part, I was just kind of like, I can do without this, Dany.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
Getting to see Benjen was interesting enough, but it's been so long since we left him, and I feel like it's been a really long time since anybody at all has mentioned him as far as like the present day, that it kind of lost its punch for me. It's nice to actually have like Cold Hands / Benjen and all the confusion that book readers are going through right now over that, but something about the scene didn't really work for me. I feel bad for Mira. I don't know where her character is going to really go from here. It's not like Bran really needs her that much anymore. Maybe we will bring in Howland Reed to the situation. Maybe that's where she can go from here. I'm really not sure. I'm worried about what exactly is going to go on with Mira, and I'm wondering how exactly all of these visions are going to kind of play out and come together, and just how much more work Bran will have to do in order to get ready for this battle royale at the Wall, which is apparently what Benjen is saying we're headed towards. So I don't know how I feel about all this. We'll just have to wait and see. Stuff with Bran and Mira and Benjen, it was almost filler. It was like we've just got to kill some time so that we can get ourselves over into the last half of the season, but I don't know, it didn't really work for me. It was just kind of, okay, here we are, we're fighting zombies next. But I mean, it was fine.
Bye, Felicia.
Every time we see the Freys, they get a little bit rattier and uglier, and that's neat and all, but yeah, we find out that Peter was not lying about Brendan the Blackfish having retaken Riverrun, so that's all well and good, but of course now the Freys are going to try and take it back over with using Edmure as a, dangling over them. So I'm interested to see how that's going down. It's nice to finally go to the Riverlands where like half of our characters are supposed to be at this point, but yeah, so we've got Edmure and possibly Walder Frey himself going to Riverrun. We've got Brienne, who's supposed to be headed to Riverrun, and of course Jaime, but we'll get to that. And so the Freys didn't need them, but it was nice to be reminded that they're out there, kind of just like Benjen. A lot of like filler stuff, just putting everything in place, and a lot of this episode was just exposition manifest, you know what I mean? So I don't know, it didn't really work for me, but at the same time, there was nothing really wrong with it, so The stuff in Braavos was good. I liked that we got to see Jaqen actually removing a face from someone. That's something that's just kind of been left there, but we actually got to see it this time, which I thought was nice. Him and the Wave, I don't know how much of this whole situation is, like, really part of the plan. I don't know. Everything's really confusing with the House of Black and White, but I like the moments that we got with Arya and Lady Crane. It's like I was saying with Sansa, you know, Sansa, she needed a female friend, and Arya doesn't really have any friends, and so for this stranger to really open up to her and kind of be a nice, like, warm voice for her, it was really nice for Arya, and I like the way that Arya was saying, no, if these people murdered your family, you wouldn't just be crying, you would want revenge, you would be angry, you'd have this, like, bloodthirst, and that's what Arya's all about. And for her to be saying this to Lady Crane, it's really just Arya reminding herself of who she really is and what she started out to do with all this mess in the first place. And so that anger and the bloodlust that she does have, it's coming back to her, and it's really back. She goes and gets Needle, and she blows out the candle. She's like, I can fight in the dark. Come at me, bro, if you really want to get me. And I just wonder how much of this with the House of Black and White is a test, and I wonder if this is her final step, or like her final phase in trying to become a faceless person. Maybe in order to become a faceless person, you have to really accept who you are instead of denying who you are. And so that's all to be seen, but I really enjoyed everything that we got in Bravos, and again, that the moments between Arya and the actress were really interesting. But for me, Sam and Gilly, they really made this episode. They give it such a heart, and we've got all of this Game of Thrones going on with everybody else, but with Sam and Gilly, they get to just have this domestic story about family dynamics and what it means to come back home, and can you come home, and who are you when you've come back home. And we find that Sam very much just reverts to being a child and being completely intimidated by his father. And Gilly, who should kind of be intimidated by all of these things, she's totally not. She is just kind of wide-eyed and mesmerized by it all, but she's not going to give Randall Tarley, you know, her fear. She came from Craster. She's not going to take shit from this guy. And I like how much she really stands up for Sam and kind of speaks up for him because he can't speak for himself. It was all very interesting, and I liked Sam's mother. You're supposed to like her, of course. The bit with the sword at the end where he took the sword, I don't think it's so much about... I mean, of course the sword's going to come in handy, and he knows about Valyrian steel and all that fun. But I think it's more about him just saying, yeah, I'm taking this. This is mine. It was kind of a silent rebellion against his father. Like, you say I can't have this? Well, fuck you. So I liked all of that, and I liked our little Gilly's All That scene where she kind of came out and she was all made over. It was cute, and I liked the way she was like, I can't walk in this thing. It's fucking ridiculous. It was all very nice, and it's nice to kind of take a break from, like I said, this Game of Thrones and just deal with these characters and have them really care about each other and be a little family. Like, we have this happy family in the middle of all of this family feuding going on, and it's Sam and Gilly, and I love the connection that Sam has with these characters, and it's really nice to see what Sam sees in Gilly, because she is very warm and she is very honest and she's very endearing. And so for me, they really made this episode, and I like the kind of character development that you get when you just allow these characters to sit and breathe and communicate with one another in a very kind of mundane situation. And everybody's always going on about how Peter Baelish, Littlefinger, is the smartest guy in Westeros. He's got it all figured out. Well, the High Sparrow's looking pretty damn smart at this point. He has just got everything he wants.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
I like when he kind of gives Tommen to Marjorie, and at this point, she's like, I'll mold your mind. Come be part of the faith. And I'll tell you this about Marjorie. She does not know how to lose. This girl, she went from Renly, up, he dead, on to Joffrey, up, he dead, on to Tommen, he's done for free. So she's like, well, I'll just get in bed with the High Sparrow, and when all this is said and done, and if something, God forbid, should happen to Tommen, so done for free, she'll really be set up looking fine, like in the eyes of the people, in the eyes of the faith. Everything will work for her in theory, and so I like all of this, and I'm still not unconvinced that Cersei isn't playing this. I thought at first, I'm like, oh, well, maybe I was wrong and Cersei isn't just trying to set the Tyrells to look like a bunch of assholes, but the more I think about it and thinking about how calm she was with Jaime and having found all of this out, I'm thinking that her wheels are definitely turning, and I think that she does have something a bit more sinister in mind. So that's all left to be revealed. I liked when Olenna kind of admitted her own defeat. I like that Mace looked like a total dumbass. He looked ridiculous. His breastplate with all the flowers and his frou-frou on top of his helm. He just looked ridiculous. They really did make the Tyrells look like a bunch of assholes in this episode. So I liked that. I liked what we had with the High Sparrow and him basically saying, here's my king and here's my queen and they're all mine. Do. I run Westeros. You're welcome. It was fine, and anytime that we get to have Jaime and Cersei together, it's always good. These characters, they are so good for each other, and also so terrible for each other, but the actors really sell it, and I like that Cersei brought up the fact that, yeah, you don't have your white cloak anymore, but that's what our father wanted for you. We are finally reaching a place where we can have everything we want, and by that I mean, of course, now he can inherit titles, he can inherit lands, he can sire children, like, legitimately. And so, even though his white cloak kind of is his identity, right now, Jaime is getting a next, chance, a second chance at life, and it'll be really interesting to see what he does with it. He is going to Riverrun, and like I said, we'll see if he and Brienne do cross paths again. I don't know that it'll be with Lady Stoneheart, but we will definitely have to see. Riverrun is coming, and I'm excited. So I would say that this was definitely my least favorite episode of the season so far, but it did have some good stuff. I really enjoyed the Sam and Gilly stuff, and I like that the High Sparrow's not going anywhere anytime soon, or at least not that anybody can tell. So let me know what you thought of this episode in the comment section down below, everybody. I'm Preston L. Young. I hope you're having a great 2016 so far. You can come right back here to the Buffington Post anytime for Buffy the Vampire Slayer reviews, Angel and Faith reviews, Buffyverse discussions, discussions on the other Slayers, and more. Have a great day today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Swing, swing, swing the spinning step. You wear those shoes and I will wear that dress. Oh, kiss me beneath the milky twilight. Lead me out on the moonlit floor.
My BFF.
Joe?
730.